Good afternoon, good evening, and good day to everyone. This is going to be episode 2 of Cruelty Squad, and also a test to see how well my computer performs while trying to upload a video whilst also playing. Theoretically, it's uploading a video from my other hard drive, so it shouldn't have any conflicts, but I'm going to keep the task manager open so I can make adjustments on the fly, just in case. Anyway, when last we left our heroes, we had finished pharmatokinesis, and next up we have Paradise. I also realized I never actually gave like a proper... I gave a miniature overview, I guess you could call it, of what is actually going on here. Functionally, we are basically a hitman who is also, as you saw probably, I'm going to either make an episode 0 or append the footage to this video to have the intro also here. So, as you see in the intro, the gentleman is an armed service person of some variety, and he is short on funding, so he's going to do these missions to kill 1 to 3 approximately people per mission for approximately $5,000, I want to say. I don't remember what the pay is for this one, but you can check after you beat the levels. That's the only way that I really know how to do it. These difficulty settings are actually justified in universe, and I can go more about that in later times. For the meantime, I think I just kind of want to get back into the game. It's been a minute, and I just want to play this a little bit casually, as opposed to stressing myself out and trying to be ultra perfect or anything. I just want to sit, chill, relax, and have a good existentialism percentage run here. So, I'm still debating on whether the idea behind existentialism percentage is I should be the only one having an existential crisis during the recording session, or if the viewers should also be having an existential crisis during the viewing. Because I could basically make it either way, I believe, depending on a couple of key factors. Some very simple descriptors that I could... I think for argument's sake, though, it is probably more reasonable to assume that if people are going to be going into a given situation, they would hope that it would be a positive situation, generally speaking. So it doesn't necessarily have to be that I'm trying to make anything one way or the other. Simply me existing has an influence on things, and everyone else also has this power. It's not like it's some sort of magical superpower or anything. It's just that we all have sway as far as our arms reach, basically. But the fact of the matter is, the way that our bodies and our minds work is our arms reach is quite a bit further than you could more reasonably internalize when you just kind of sit down and start thinking about things. These are the types of details that are constantly battering themselves around my mind, while other people are usually just doing something productive. And of course, there's always arguments to be made about what is and what isn't productivity, and in what situations is something useful. There's no possible way that I could have guessed that one of my favorite activities in the entire world, playing video games, would potentially be not necessarily a lucrative career, but a potential to actually make money. When I was a child, trying to describe yourself as saying I play video games for fun would have gotten you laughed at. These days, it gets you more of a side eye, which isn't, as bad, of course. I'm sure there is still some version of stigmata somewhere, but it's much less from what I've been understanding. It's much more commonplace for people to have exotic jobs and particular situations to their, substrata of understanding, because there's just too many factors in the world to try and keep track of them all, really. So I think that means that humanity generally is better as a community in standard terms. I guess it depends on what you would consider a community. If you consider, does a person consider a single entity to be able to be a community? Because, for example, I exist. If we assume that is the way things are, whether or not you do, I feel like there's a mathematical proof that could answer the question for you if you believe the answer is no to that question. But I believe if you think that the answer to that is yes, then there is too much evidence of specific types of causality that have been mentioned so many times throughout history that it cannot possibly be a coincidence. These are conversations that people have with one another over spans of years, and some people tend to just say that type of conversation doesn't exist, even though both entities can report on that type of conversation. It's baffling to me. But at the same time, I also perfectly understand where they're coming from, because you can't rule out any train of thought logically without having a full understanding of all of the situations that get you to that point. So I would definitely take an argumentative stance saying I tried to simulate every possible experience that I could from the perspective of what I thought the world was at a younger age. Because mathematically that is true. That is what I did. I was not conscious of it happening at the time, however. And this raises many more interesting points because of the way that data point came to be. Because there are other data points. I don't have to make them. They already exist. So The thing is, I keep trying to qualify myself as a particular thing. Like, I guess that's any human has a crisis at least once in their life about their identity, what they are, who they are, where they are, when they are, all of the senses, and then them, usually, is how it goes. Because, there's not exactly an instruction manual sitting around for humanity. I feel like, though, even stating such simplistic terminology would be something that has been parroted by itself over the years. And it's a question of, if you come to the individual recollection of something that the rest of humanity agrees on, does that mean that you are simply capable of rational thought, or does that mean that if you as an individual are as capable of rational thought as the remainder of the world, and therefore you can use this sort of information, and everyone can use this sort of information? And I'd be interested to hear people's perspectives on that. I forget where the rocket launcher is. I think it's in that house? It's in one of these houses. I'll come back for it later. I was looking for the rocket launcher because it would make the next couple of levels really easy, but I don't really have to rush. I gotta see. $2,000. Not too bad. Not nearly as as rambunctious as the prior episode, but maybe some people would prefer a more short form, calm episode, so I'll call that an episode here, and see everyone who is willing to remain in episode 3. Thank you, and have a great day.